guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about carry guns, and my typical carry gun in the winter is my SIG X10. It's a 10 millimeter. Well, fortunately I carry a backup. It's in my left front pocket and it looks like this. And you're probably saying, what is something that looks like a threaded credit card? What is it doing in your front pocket and why are you calling it a backup gun? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, because this little gun is actually pretty fun. Is it practical for carry? We'll talk about this in video, but aside from any practicality it might offer, it certainly offers a lot of fun. Stick around, this is gonna be a fun video. We're gonna do some shooting with this little guy and see if we can get into some trouble. Bum, ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, bum, bum. The LifeCard fits comfortably in any one of my 4 pockets, either the front or rear pockets, and it doesn't weigh much more than a loaded wallet might weigh with all your credit cards in it. And it is literally the same size as a credit card. So, yeah, it's a neat little gun. Has a 1/2x28 thread on the end, but again, that's optional. And it actually deploys very quickly, and I have a round in there. And again, we'll talk about the safety features of the gun here in a moment, but it is actually safe to carry the gun with a round in the chamber. So you would just literally grab your pistol, open it, point in a safe direction, cock it, and fire. But you're thinking, what if I want to be a little bit more discreet? Fortunately, when I carry a handgun, I usually travel around with a suppressor in my rear pocket. So I have my Huxworks, formerly known as OSS, in my rear pocket of my jeans. I'm going to go ahead and screw that on. And now I can be a little bit more stealthy when I shoot the pistol. Find out which pocket I put some ammo in. Put the round in, make sure it's closed completely. Cock the gun. And then it's actually really, really quiet because you don't have any action movement and it never opens up the breech, so there's no gas that's going to escape. Very quiet, but not exactly practical. Obviously, this is just for fun. And fun, it most certainly is. I've been out here shooting this thing this morning and I'm just laughing the entire time because it's such a fun little goofy gun to shoot. Bong! Challenge targets back there ringing like they should. So, now that we've talked about some of the features of the gun, including its little storage compartment here for ammunition, let's talk about some of the safety features of the gun and why it really is safe to carry the gun in your pocket with a round chambered. But if you don't want to chamber a round because you're just kind of nervous and you're not the type to carry a striker-fired handgun in your appendix, then you can still load the gun, but it's going to take a little bit longer, obviously, to ready it for any type of self-defense situation. Let's walk over to the table and talk about some of the safety features of the gun, and I think you're going to agree that it's pretty well thought out. At first glance, you may assume that the LifeCard is unsafe to carry loaded, and that's not true. When you order the LifeCard, it's $299. It is considered a handgun, obviously, and it will be shipped to you in a Pelican case, much like the one you see here. And it's a nice case. It's a nice travel case and whatnot, although it does not have locks on it, so it's not TSA approved. But Trailblazer Arms, this is the logo for the LifeCard. When you open it up, it comes with a little card in there. It tells you about this particular one. This one is threaded. Again, they're available without the threaded barrel. And on the back, it'll give you the quick breakdown of the features of the gun in terms of its overall dimensions and size and weight. So caliber 22 long rifle, pitch 1/2x28 thread on the barrel, length 4 inches, height 2.125 inches, thickness 1/2 inch, weight 7.1 ounces, capacity 1, fun, max, and I agree with that assessment. The gun has a nice little foam insert that's cut out for it, and you can pinch it, take it right out, and underneath it, it says shh. Obviously, that's for the suppressed version. Now, I have the thread protector in my pocket just so I can easily put the thread, or put the can on the threads. I think I put it in a pocket. Here we go. But there you go. There's the thread protector. And so the gun, let's talk about some of the safety features. Now, if you want to carry the gun with a round in the chamber, this is what you have to consider. When the gun is ready to fire, it is empty, you have to draw the striker to the rear. When the gun fires, the striker goes all the way forward and therefore is able to make contact with the primer and ignite the cartridge. Now, when I pull the trigger is going to stay back. It's going to tell you that it's in the fire position and the striker is protruding through the firing pinhole. So if you try to close it, the trigger will prevent you from closing the action. It's telling you, hey, put it on safe, if you will. So you pull the striker slightly to the rear, that engages the internal safety. It cannot go forward unless the trigger is pulled, and that pops the trigger forward, so now the gun can be folded into its storage position. And that's critical. So without that half cock, if you will, the striker would be able to make contact with the rim, but it's unable to. So to ready it, you just pop it open and then draw the striker to the rear and fire it. Since I don't have my ears on, I'm not going to do that. So it is technically safe to carry loaded. And that's something I worried about, because if it comes down to having to load the gun and fire it, I'll show you what that looks like. Grab my ears here really quick. When you have it folded, the storage compartment where the rounds are stored cannot open. So it's not going to open up in your pocket and dump your ammo in your pocket. Again, pretty well thought out. You can get about 3 rounds of ammunition in that little storage compartment. So let's go ahead and fold it up. Now I take it out of my pocket. I have to deploy this because that frees up this trap door to open. Take out a round, load the gun. Whoops. Make sure you get it to lock, and boom. It's not uncomfortable to fire. It's only a 22, so there's no real recoil. There's nothing that's going to pinch you. And then after you fire it, you have to open the action, pick out the spent case, and then if you want to grab another round, you can do so like that. Whoops. And that's another reason why I wouldn't recommend carrying it unloaded, is because it's very easy to drop those little 22s and taking pot shots at a little weed over there. So, and not the kind you smoke. All right, so very, very cool. It's made out of aluminum and steel, has a little steel insert for the barrel. Has the American flag over here facing the proper direction. The markings to the gun are on the underside, and it's really, really smooth. All the edges are rounded, so it's not going to be, something that's going to cut up your jeans or be uncomfortable to carry in a pocket. You can see the lock work and everything is behind these plates with a series of screws holding it. You have a little lanyard loop through the rear there if you want to use something like that. Now it does seem as though it has a rear sighting notch there, but there's no front sight, at least on this particular model. I've not seen the one without the threaded barrel. But for me, out just shooting it, having some fun, I really enjoy shooting it with a suppressor. Whoops. And so you might ask yourself, is it really practical for concealed carry? Well, the answer is yes, as maybe perhaps a backup, or just something that, I don't know, carry around in your pocket if you live in the country to dispatch critters that are bothering you or something like that, keeping in mind that there's no laser aiming device on it and there's no sights really on it, so you have to be fairly close enough to get off a point shot that's accurate. But in a self-defense scenario, 22 isn't the most ideal cartridge for self-defense. Can it kill? Yeah, it kills a lot of people intentionally and unintentionally every year, but it's not exactly something that I would consider for everyday carry, if not because of the lacking power of the 22 long rifle, but also 22s with their rim fire tend to be a little bit finicky, and sometimes that rim won't ignite the cartridge, and so you have to hit it a couple of times, and you don't want that happening in a self-defense situation. So rim fire isn't necessarily ideal for that particular purpose. With that being said, if I had this in my pocket with my 10mm, there might be a time when I'd actually use it. I've had to stop to dispatch a raccoon or a cat that's been hit on the side of the road just to show it some mercy, and I really don't want to fire my 10mm in that situation. It's just too much money to waste on an animal I'm showing some mercy. 22 long rifle, on the other hand, even if I'm missing, I can stand out there for 10 minutes taking shots at it until I actually hit it. Kind of kidding, but you never know. So overall, it's a pretty fun gun. Let's see if I can pull off a shot from like 20 yards here. This may or may not work. All right, here we go. No sights, just point shooting. Pulled it off. So if you take your time and get used to the grip angle and all that stuff, you can actually pull off some pretty decent shots, at least on a man-sized target, and practice for self-defense. Now, Jason brought up an interesting use for this, and he straight up says it's very similar to the Liberator pistol of World War II. The Liberator was made by the Guide Lamp Corporation. It was a sheet metal 45 ACP that could hold ammunition to grip, much like this one. So I think conceptually it might have been the impetus behind this particular design, but it was so you could liberate weapons from the enemy. So if you were in a situation where you needed to liberate a more effective weapon, let's say, it could be used in that capacity. But fortunately, we live in a society that's not likely to crumble, at least I hope not, and it really wouldn't be necessary to have something like the Liberator. But this thing is really intended, I think, for people that want a deep concealment type firearm that aren't really worried about having it immediately ready for self-defense, and people like me who want to shoot it for fun and maybe just keep it around, again, for dispatching critters and stuff like that. And it's certainly a great party item to take out on the 4th of July when I have folks over at the house so we can go in the backyard and shoot something a little bit different. I think this thing would be a big hit. When you have a LifeCard in your pocket, it just looks like a square. There's literally the size of a wallet. It's not going to draw any undue attention. So when you want to travel about town, you're not going to be printing. Now, I like the Ruger 380 LCP Max for a little pocket gun, but when I have it in a pocket, when I sit down, it's plain as day that there's a handgun in my pocket. This avoids that type of printing, and it can be easily deployed in, I wouldn't call it an instant, but pretty darn quickly if you carry it loaded. So its true value is in concealability, lightweight, and nobody's really going to know that you're going to be carrying a gun or that you are carrying a gun. It just looks like a piece of metal in the hand. If I showed this to somebody, especially the one without the threaded barrel, they wouldn't even know they were looking at a gun. They would be perplexed as to what it might be. And it's not, unless you're a gun owner and you're used to working with things like Glocks, you would look at these tabs and probably wouldn't even know how they worked. It'd take you a few minutes to figure it out. So it's actually a really, really ingenious little idea. It's not horribly expensive at $299, and it's been 100% reliable in terms of me just letting my oldest son, play with it. He was really interested in it, and he's playing with the mechanism. If anybody can break things, it's me. And if I want to go one up level from there to even more likely to break things, it's my oldest son. And we've not been able to break it. And that says something for the design, because I can break a brass ball. All right, here we go. You guys may not know this, but I'm a proud member of IDSA, which is the Indiana Dirt Shooters Association. And we have chapter meetings every month, and we shoot dirt. Now, the gun costs $299, and it is extremely well made, as I've already pointed out. And the fun factor, at least for me, but I'm also a bit of a weird personality, I have a lot of fun with the little guy just making weird shots with it. So it seems to be quality. I couldn't break it, my son couldn't break it, and that's saying something about it. $299 is relatively affordable, make a neat gift idea. And if you just want to carry something that's a single shot 22, I haven't seen a better one. Now, if you guys go back a few years, you'll remember the belt buckle 22s. They were revolvers, had a couple of rounds, you could cock them and fire them. It's pretty much in the same vein as that. It's just a easily concealed, not very obvious 22 that you can pretty much stick anywhere on your person. Don't go too far with that. Or you can hide it in, duffel bags and things like that for a gun that you might want to have just in case. All right, guys, if you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms Channel, the best possible way to do that is to become part of our Patreon family. There is a link in the video description below. You'll get early access to videos like this one. We also produce videos that are only available to our Patreons. So again, follow that link and consider supporting us over on Patreon. Conversely, right here on YouTube, there's a little join button underneath the video player you're watching right now. Mash that join button, and you can support us right here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. Last but not least, please swing by and check out coppercustom.com. Thank you for 14 years of support, and we will talk to you guys soon. I got you now.